Are you cheating your players if you don't kill their characters? Are you giving them meaningless accomplishments? I'll discuss that in this video. Does this sound like your campaign? After a pitched battle, we killed a fearsome kobold and found its treasure trove. Well, in years past, that was called a Monty Hall campaign, where the players got a lot of awards and things like that for just, let's make a deal. What's behind door number 1? What's behind door number 2? What's behind door number 3? If your characters don't have a chance of death, the accomplishments are sort of meaningless. And the way to see that you're doing that is that you actually put the characters in danger. Do they have a chance of dying? I hear stories about DMs, oh, I've never killed a character, or I've never killed a character in 5th edition. I almost did, but they pulled through. And I'm going, well, what kind of game is it? You're all sitting around and you're patting each other on the back. You're congratulating each other over meaningless accomplishments. If the characters come up against serious challenges and overcome them in interesting ways, then they deserve the rewards. Otherwise, you're just sitting around. It's a mutual admiration society where you all admire the accomplishments that the other person has done, or you're just storytelling, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but that's storytelling. Don't say that you're actually playing a game that has any chance of harming your characters. Now, that's perfectly fine because it's like I've mentioned before, I've played the game of On Guard, which is, shall we say, the most misogynistic game you'll probably run across. But it's because you can't play as a female character. It's impossible. You cannot play as a female character. And but what happens is that the characters can't die in On Guard because you never get into really battles. You need always submit before your character died. You would never do anything to death. It's all a matter about honor and prestige. That's a different kind of game. And the rules are different. But if you're playing a game with monsters, shouldn't there be a chance that the monster wins? Where is this where, you see all these dead heroes that tried to kill the dragon, but your party comes up and offs him in 3 rounds? What does that say? It's the characters should be put in real danger. I remember games where the characters dragged the dead bodies of the other characters back to town to pay to have them resurrected. And if you're familiar with original Dungeons and Dragons, the 3 books in the white box or the gray brown box, whatever. And that one, every time you were resurrected, you had 2 things. You lost a point of constitution and you had a die roll to see if you survived the resurrection. And what was unclear is that if you didn't survive the resurrection, your character was gone. Well, or was it? That was an interesting question. Or did you just lose that chance and you're dead again, you could be resurrected? That was a little obscure because I remember one character, he had an 18 constitution, they dragged him back to town and they resurrected him and he died again. So his constitution is now 17 and they paid the money and got the extra resurrection spell to try and resurrect him again, and he succeeded. Now his constitution was 16, which for a fighter was a big deal because that affected how many hit points you gained as you went up levels. So, and constitution is an important stat for a fighter. So those are things that you remember. because they're memorable accomplishments. You either killed the monster, or 4 characters died killing the monster, and I'm the last one to survive and come back, or I drugged back, there were 3 of us alive and we could only drag back one of the bodies, and we left the other 2, and we're going to hope to go back in there and see if we can find the bodies before something eats them, or whatever. Those are achievements where your characters are going in and killing things, and it's there. Otherwise, you're playing, just a role-playing game, which is perfectly fine, but don't put your character up against someone in a campaign where there's real chances of death, because they've accomplished a lot of things. It's like you get these meaningless accomplishments for people who, today you hear about, oh, we have to treat everybody that they, just by the effort of doing, of accomplishing things, they did things. I remember, personal story, when I was going through basic training in the Army, I had a hard time. I really had a hard time getting through basic training, and we're coming to the final PT test to get out of basic training. And I'm doing it, I think, yeah, and I'm working really hard. I'm going along. I can't run fast, and I'm just barely making it. And 2 other guys came up beside me, and we were and giving me encouragement as we go along. And when I get done, the drill sergeant comes over and he says, "You made it. I made the time." But he was really angry at the other 2 guys. And he goes, and I go, "Why?" He says, "Well, you tried. You never slowed down. You ran the entire course. That was an accomplishment for you. It was hard. Those other 2 guys," he says, "they could have finished in half of your time. They're, much better shape. They're just being slackers going along. And yeah, they encouraged you, which is good for teamwork, but you're supposed to accomplish it on your own." So that was an interesting learning experience. And that was from mine, where for me, it was physically very hard to do that. And I accomplished it, and that's there, but it wasn't a real accomplishment. I know that I didn't finish in the top 3 or 4 or things like that. So if your characters go out there and kill a kobold and win a treasure trove, wow, what an accomplishment. Now, I have done things, and I will admit this, and it's like one of the most deadly traps that I've ever put together, is you have a ballista and a kobold. And the kobold, it's a command detonated trap, as the description is. So the kobold is sitting up in a nest, looking down at this pathway that the characters have to come up. And the kobold is taught, you see the guy, he says, when you see the guy in the pointy hat cross that little point there, pull this lever. That's all the kobold knows. When you see a guy in a pointy hat cross that, you pull this lever. What that does is that launches a ballista bolt at the magic user in the center of the party. Really nasty. If the magic user survives, and that's an if, then all hell is going to break loose, and he's probably going to either lightning bolt or fireball or whatever, and the kobold is dead. And you've killed a kobold. But the party is totally freaked out because you've been hit with something fairly nasty. That's a nasty trap, where killing a kobold is an accomplishment, because, if you see the kobold ahead of time and or you spot out the trap, that's a different matter. But in general, is there a chance that your character can die? Is there a chance the kobold could actually kill a member of the party? If that's true, then it's a real accomplishment. If it's not, it's sort of a meaningless accomplishment. Oh, you see a kobold scout. Well, one of the characters runs the kobold down and kills him. Whoopee. I mean, that's a big accomplishment. It's like I've done in some of my campaigns, attack the party with squirrels. Yeah. Squirrels. They throw acorns and little rocks at the party, and you see how the party responds. Killing the squirrel is, nothing, particularly for characters at the level that you normally play. Even a first level character should be able to take out a squirrel without a problem. The question is that, you have a bunch of squirrels, and then the squirrels are watching them and things like that. So you can make things interesting even with very simple monsters. And then there's meaning to it. But what happens is if you see all these characters who just have these magic items, you're playing a Monty Hall campaign if you don't put any challenges before that. In 4th edition, they added the thing where you could scale up the encounters to medium or hard, which I found was interesting. It was an interesting concept, but you should be able to challenge your party so that some of them could die. And I thought I had I didn't have that high of a death rate, but I killed a few characters. I've done a few total party kills, and I've had parties that were partially killed by other player characters. But that's a different matter. But I think you should add this into your mix, because it makes things more interesting. That now that they've accomplished something, not just, oh, we walked up a hill. No, you climbed Mount Everest. That it's a meaningful accomplishment rather than these meaningless accomplishments of, oh, we killed a kobold. So thank you. I'd like to hear your comments. Put them down below. If you like my video, press the thumbs up button. I'd appreciate that. Or if this interests you, you can always subscribe to my channel. There's a button right above. I look forward to hearing some comments. Tell me what you think about this, and I'll try and reply, and we can see if I'll do some more of these. Thank you.